Emily was a woman whose smile had faded long ago. Life hadn't been kind to her. At 32, she was already a widow, raising her little boy Daniel, all by herself every morning. She set up her small food stall by the roadside, steaming jollof rice, fried plantain, and fresh palm oil stew, filling the air with a scent that kept people coming. It wasn't the life she dreamt of, but it was the one she fought to keep. Then, one quiet afternoon, a man stopped by, a tall, well-dressed man in an expensive car. He ordered food, smiled politely, and ate like he hadn't had a proper meal in years. Emily didn't know it then, but that man Patrick was about to change everything. When he finished, he thanked her and left, forgetting his wallet. Emily didn't notice until later. Her son, Daniel, found it under the wooden bench when Patrick returned. Slightly panicked, Emily smiled softly and said, "You didn't leave it here." Then Daniel ran out, holding it in his tiny hands. "Uncle, you forgot this." Patrick froze. Honesty like that wasn't something he saw every day. He thanked them again and left, but he couldn't stop thinking about the woman with the quiet eyes and the boy who reminded him of himself. The next day, Patrick came back. This time, he wasn't just hungry for food, he was hungry for company. He sat longer, talked more, laughed for the first time in months. Running a multi-billionaire company made laughter a luxury. All he did was work, work and work. The women around him all wanted something from him, not love but money. And slowly, what began as a simple roadside meal became a daily routine. He learned that Emily was a widow, that she struggled, yet smiled, that she worked hard so her son could go to school, and that, beneath the apron and sweat, was a heart pure and kind. Days became weeks, and weeks became months. Patrick began helping quietly, sometimes paying double for food, sometimes buying Daniel small gifts. Emily always refused the big offers. She didn't want pity. She wanted respect. It was a rainy evening. Emily had closed her stall early, trying to cover her pots when Patrick's car stopped nearby. He got down holding an umbrella. "Hop in. I'll drop you home." She refused at first, shy and wet from the rain, but he insisted. Inside the car, silence filled the air, only raindrops on the glass. Then softly, Patrick said, "You shouldn't walk home under the storm. Emily, you deserve someone who'll keep you warm." Their eyes met for a moment too long. The tension hung heavy. Emily looked away quickly, heart pounding. One day, Patrick invited her to an event, a business dinner. Emily hesitated, but he insisted. He sent her a simple gown, elegant but modest. When she arrived, heads turned, whispers filled the air. Who invited her? She doesn't belong here. Emily's hands trembled. She wanted to disappear, but then the hall went silent as Patrick walked in. He went straight to her, smiling proudly. "This is the woman I told you about," he said to his friends. "She's special." Gasps, shock, some fake smiles, but he didn't care. He pulled out a chair for her, his eyes never leaving hers. That night, she didn't feel small. She felt seen. It had been raining heavily for days. Emily's small apartment leaked from the ceiling again, and she had spent the night trying to stop the water with bowls and old rags. The next morning, Patrick came by her stall to eat as usual, only this time he noticed her tired eyes. "Emily," he said gently, "you look like you haven't slept." She laughed faintly. "My roof's falling apart again. I'll fix it somehow." Patrick's expression softened. "No, you and Daniel can't stay there another night." Before she could protest, he insisted, "You're both coming with me." That evening, Patrick drove them through the rain to his home, a sprawling mansion glowing with warm lights. Daniel's eyes widened as they stepped inside. "Wow, Uncle Patrick, your house is so big," he shouted, running around, and Emily hurried after him. "Daniel, don't touch anything, please." A moment later, she turned to Patrick, embarrassed. "I'm so sorry." Patrick took her hand. "Emily, the house is ours now." She froze, speechless. "Ours?" He smiled. "Do you know how happy I am that you're in my house?" Emily's eyes glistened. She moved quietly into the kitchen, tidied up, and cooked dinner. The three of them ate together, laughing, sharing stories, Daniel talking between mouthfuls. For the first time in years, Emily felt peace, Later that night, Daniel fell asleep on the couch. Patrick gently lifted him into his arms and carried him upstairs. When he came back, Emily was on the balcony, looking out into the night sky. "I love it so much that you're here," Patrick said, stepping beside her. "I'm happy to know your world," Emily replied softly. "If only I had something good to offer you too." Patrick turned to her, his voice low and sincere. "You already have. You gave me something I never had, love that feels real." Their eyes met. He brushed a raindrop from her cheek and whispered, "Having you as my woman and getting to love you every day, that's enough for me." He leaned closer, and she didn't pull away. The rain pattered softly beyond the balcony as their lips met in a gentle, lingering kiss. Moments later, Emily went to her room, smiling through her blush. Patrick looked up the stairs where Daniel slept and whispered, "You've got a strong mom, kid." Weeks later, Emily applied for a job secretly at one of Patrick's companies, not because she wanted to be near him, but because she wanted to stand on her own. She was hired as a cleaner. When Patrick found out, he was furious. "You? A cleaner? Why, Emily?" "Because I can't keep living off your kindness," she replied. He clenched his fists, frustrated. "So, what are we, Emily?" "Friends," she said softly. Patrick took a step closer. "Just friends?" She nodded, avoiding his gaze. He moved even closer until her back touched the wall. "What could a man like me have in common with a woman like you?" she whispered. He smiled. "Everything, Emily, everything that matters." Her heart raced as he said, "I love you. I don't care what people say, or how the world looks at us. You and your son. You've given me peace I didn't know I needed." Before she could speak, he kissed her deeply, gently, like a promise. From then on, their love grew quietly but fiercely. Patrick never hid her. He often came to her stall. Even when people whispered, he'd sneak into her office at work, hold her close, and tell her, "You make me proud." Daniel adored him too. Patrick took him to the park, bought him toys, taught him how to ride a bicycle. Sometimes neighbors joked that Patrick looked more like Daniel's father than anyone else. One day, Emily fainted at work from stress. Patrick was in a meeting when he heard and ran straight to the hospital. Seeing her on the bed with her son beside her broke him. He sat quietly, holding her hand. "You work so hard for everyone and forget yourself," he whispered. When Emily woke up, she found a bouquet beside her bed and Patrick asleep on the chair next to her. Her heart melted. "You stayed all night?" He smiled sleepily. "Where else would I be?" One evening, Patrick hosted a dinner at his company. Everyone was there, including a certain lady, Clara, who had always wanted him for herself. When she saw Emily beside him, she lost her temper. "You think you're better than us because the boss pities you?" she spat, before slapping her. The hall froze. Patrick stood slowly, eyes blazing. "Don't you ever touch her again," he roared. He took Emily's hand. "This woman is the reason I'm a better man today. If anyone has a problem with that, you can leave my company tonight." Silence. Then, slowly, people began clapping. Later that night, he held Emily close and said softly, "You and Daniel are my world now." Months later, they got married in a small, beautiful ceremony. Emily wore a simple white dress. Daniel held her hand as she walked down the aisle. Patrick couldn't hold back his tears as he whispered his vows. He didn't just marry a woman. He married her heart, her strength, and her story. After the wedding, Patrick surprised Emily and Daniel with a trip to the beach. He ran into the water with Daniel on his shoulders while Emily watched. Laughing freely, Patrick turned and waved at her. "Come on, Mrs. Lawson." She ran toward them, barefoot, laughing. He scooped her up and spun her around as the waves splashed. Daniel shouted, "Daddy, faster!" Patrick looked at Emily with love in his eyes. "See? He called me Daddy." Emily smiled through tears. "You've always been his." And as the sun set that evening, Emily looked at her husband and her son, and for the first time in years, she felt complete.